Just quickly touching on the New York State Fairs, I know we've spoken about the fairs before. So besides infrastructure, water, sewer lines, structures, again, just a reminder that the issue of premiums continues to be a concern in terms of getting people to exhibit. So more of an annual allocation. If we're going to have the true sharing and education, we need to have the farmers there, and they need to be able to afford to stay there. So for veterinary fees and other costs.
Yeah, thank you.
And if there's an ability to put some sort of interpretive, encourage our fairs to put more interpretive elements in, kind of like an ag in the classroom kiosk, other informative, some way of helping underwrite or support that. I thought that would be helpful for our visitors who know nothing about agriculture but like seeing the animals and petting them, et cetera. Quick change over to the EPF allocation. I concur with my colleague next to me in regard to the biomass, solar, wind, hydro, energy conservation component. We know that our farms often have two requests: higher price for their product and lower input costs. And energy, is always going to be there. I'd like to see a chicken in every pot, so to speak. It'd be nice to see every farm that's engaged in active, productive agriculture have a way to underwrite their costs or reduce their costs with on-farm energy production. Skipping over to the farm-to-school piece, I understand, and again, Assemblywoman Russell spoke about the cost offset. I believe there's also an issue with storage or marketing orders. It might have something involving OGS. I'm a little rusty on this, but there may be an issue of access or supply as well. Some sort of contractual issues with OGS. If you're not, maybe you're up to speed on. I'm sure you are with Rowan. I do want to hit the issue of milk pricing, and it's my understanding that we're at 17 or so price per 100. I'm not sure where we are right now.
Yeah.
Which I understand is around break-even point. I remain concerned about variability in milk pricing, and I'm just wondering what are we doing, what can we be doing to stabilize that industry and still significant, if not the majority of our New York production, agricultural production. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, dairy, as you know, has been riding a roller coaster most of our lifetimes anyway. We participated in a number of summits on dairy crisis over the years, mostly having to do with price. This past year the challenge has been more of a supply and demand issue, which is kind of unique, where we had coming off a record year of pricing and a record year of volume. And unfortunately, the rest of the world had a record year as well. We saw our export market drop by about 3%, not because of New York, but because our dollar is strong in the United States, because the EU had a big year in dairy, because New Zealand had a big year in dairy, because the Chinese bought less. And so we had a supply and demand issue which drove price down. I think that long term, I'm encouraged. For the most part, supply and demand has kind of righted itself. There are still challenges cropping up across the state with challenges with getting milk sold. But by and large, now it's a price issue. The price is low, kind of a hangover from all of that. I do think that our prognosis is excellent in the state because we continue to make a lot of yogurt, we continue to make a lot of cheese, we continue to make a lot of powder, we continue to move a lot of fluid milk. Fluid milk is kind of leveled off, and maybe even retreating a little bit, but the others are doing quite well. And my reason for optimism is that in the last 2 years, we added 63 processing plants in the state. They're excited about growing. They're investing in growing in New York State. And today we have 30 plants in our queue at the department to be inspected and looked at. Mm-hmm. So I think we can look to that as there's still market available for our milk. And secondly, I think our co-ops have gotten involved with thinking about how much milk do we need in the state. As you know, some of our best friends are dairy farmers, but when they have a great year, they add on capacity. And we added on capacity at a time when there was less market for it, and that's problematic in all industries. And now our co-ops are getting into that, looking at not regulating that, but influencing that. So I think prognosis long-term for dairy is excellent in the state. We're in the right region, we've got the right geography. Our cheese tastes better than cheese made in other states. And I think the confidence from our co-ops and processors is high.
I see I'm out of time, Commissioner. And again, my only concern is the issue of, besides the investment in processing, is it translating so that our farmers are making investments on their farms? And that's the piece I'm most concerned about. Is it translating to on-farm investment?
Yeah.
So I'll leave it with you. We'll come back. I think I know how to reach you.
Okay.
Thank you.